Good morning, students. Welcome to the subject of BPS. We are dealing, that is business policy and strategy. We are dealing with unit number 3 and we are on the point of competitive advantage and core competencies, right? Alright, in this session we'll be learning about these important terms, that is competitive advantage and core competencies. Let us try to understand in the depth. Mind my words and then try to relate it with the textual portion. Alright, now let us talk about the competitive advantage. It is a buzzword, even core competency is a buzzword. It's not a new concept for you all, but we will try to see this technically how it matters with the business, right? So let us start. The competitive advantage is what? It is considered to be the unique strength of the organization, right? What it helps the organization? It helps the organization to have the edge over the others competitive firms, right? That means if you have a competitive advantage, you are better performing than the competitors in the industry, right? So the competitive advantage has different dimensions, and these dimensions will be learning under 3 different heads. That is how a competitive advantage can be gained. It can be gained through resource utilization skill of the organization. It can be developed through, or it can be gained through using the capabilities of the organization, or it can be gained through having the core competencies. Now how they are different from each other and what each one of them mean, that we will be learning here in this session. Alright, now let us talk about the first dimension, that is resource utilization skills of the organization. The content has been given in the text and you can refer it at the time of watching the video session here. Alright, let us talk about the resource utilization skill of the organization. We all know that an organization depends on so many types of inputs, right? Or we call it resources. Now resources are inevitable to conduct any of the activities in the organization. So resources can be identified in so many different ways. It can be defined as different inputs. Mainly we know them in the form of 7 M's. That may be men, machines, material, money, methods, markets, or minutes and time. So what happens is resources also covers the area like soft skills, talent, knowledge of the individual or human resource that an organization may be having. So it should be noted here that resources themselves will not give a competitive advantage. Then what has to be done? It is not just the availability of the resources or scarcity that creates the problem, but it is the manipulative combinations and the synergized strategies that helps to have the best advantage, or that helps to have the resource utilization to the best, to make as the competitive advantage of the to the firm. When we are talking about the resources, we can identify it in under two different heads, right? So resource use of the organization is very crucial. Why? Because it is not always that the gaining the resource is important. How do you use it? How do you manipulate the available resources? That is what is the core concept, or that is said to be the core area which helps to have the competitive advantage, right? When we, as I said, when we talk about the resources, it is the two types of resources that we know. It may be the tangible resources or it may be the intangible resources. Now when we talk about the tangible resources, they can be all the types of physical resources like plant and equipments, technological resources, maybe the art of technology that may be used, stock of technologies, patents, trademarks, copyrights, trade secrets, etc., right? Then comes up the financial resources, that is the firm's borrowing capacity, or maybe to generate the internal funds. Then comes up the informational resources. It may be the communication network and reporting system, planning, controlling, coordinating methods of the company, communication linkages among the different plants and divisions. These are all considered to be the physical resources of the firm. Now getting the resources is not just the point there. It is utilization of the resources to its best. So these tangible resources should be utilized best to create the competitive advantage of the firm over the other firms, other competitive firms, right? Then the second set of resources comes up is said to be the intangible resources. Now these intangible resources means it can be converted into the unique capabilities, or it is the unique capabilities of the people of the organization system, right? It may be intangible resources can be of many types, like human resources. Human resources can be considered intangible because they have the talent, they have the knowledge, they have the commitments, right, discipline, managerial capabilities, organizational routines, how they purely perform or how they perform it better. It may be innovative resources, which is creative ideas, maybe making the scientific approaches to solve the problem, maybe the capacity to innovate. All these can be considered to be the innovative and intangible resources. Again, it is the relationship resources or reputational resources that helps the company to create the competitive advantage. Like you have the good relationship with the customers, then you can make them loyal, right? A warm relationship may be there with the suppliers. It may be like building the brand image, product positioning, maybe the reliability and the durability of the product. These all are considered to be intangible, right? But they make the sense when you create or when you want to create the competitive advantage over the others. So when we are talking about the competitive advantage, the first dimension that we have dealt here is said to be the resource utilization, right? The next dimension that comes up is the capabilities of the organization. Now, how we understand these capabilities? It refers to the strategic and synergized integration of various resources. How the capabilities can be best used, how it can be integrated, and then the various resources are made to the use. Like a strategic manipulation of the limited resources, but having the alternative uses, maybe thinking, analysis, and smart commitment, right, to cause it more say to the cause. It is more related to human resources, and if that is taken into consideration, then many capabilities can made to use, right? It can be the physical assets, or maybe the adopted technology, maybe the use of the skills and knowledge, talent, intellectual capital of the human resource. So capabilities are reflected in the proper integration. When you try to make the use of the available skills and you integrate these resources to make the to fulfill the task, it is said to be the utilization of the capabilities. The strategic use of these resources of the organization with the use of intellectual property of the human resource actually builds and develops the capability of the organization. Now what happens is the visionary management always strives to build the intellectual capabilities. Whatever the managerial people are, they'll always strive to have the intellectual capabilities, maybe by making the use of different techniques, like learning techniques, right, so that the environment and of the employees is so created that it will always create a condition of a continuous learning, right? The smart management will always intend to develop the capabilities of the human resource and takes sufficient care in procuring the best human resource through selection, preparing them through training, and placing them at the best places so that the potential capabilities can be utilized. So this is how the capabilities can be built of the organization, especially related to the human resource, so that they can integrate all the resources, other non-human resources to the best. So this is how the capabilities is created, it is built, and it is not an overnight process. It takes it is built over a period of time through a kind of deliberate actions and through the visionary aspect or visionary quality of the management. So this is how the second dimension can be understood as the capabilities of the organization, right? It is again in relation to the human resource. When we talk about the third concept, or maybe the third dimension, then it is core competency. Now what is this core competency all about? Then it proves to be the crown jewel of the company. Competitors can access the resources like what we have. The other firms may be having the same resources, they can even build the capabilities, but the development of core competency is a unique feature of a particular company. And core competencies refers to, again, strategically and manipulatively using the resources combination to build the capabilities, right? So core competency results from a strategic use of all the resources and their competencies that enables a company to produce produce innovative product, maybe rendering a unique type of services which makes them different, which makes them unique from the competitors. And what happens because of these core competencies, you create a kind of customer pool, and the greatest satisfaction to the customers can be rendered as compared to the other competitive firms. So this is how the core competencies can be developed. Now when we talk about the core competency, even there are some kind of points through which the core competencies can be developed, right? These core competencies can be developed with the 4 tools. Like valuable capabilities. The first one in the tool comes up is valuable capabilities. Now what happens here? How these tools can be used? A firm is able to exploit the internal strength and can just neutralize the threats that are external, right? With the help of valuable capabilities of its human capital. Means with the help of human capabilities, they can fight the threats that are available in the external environment. That is valuable capability, usage of valuable capability. The talented and knowledgeable people are capable of making the most out of the given situations or resources, and thus can withstand the against any unfavorable or adverse internal or external situation. So this is how the valuable capability tool helps us to have the core competency. The next important tool comes up is rare capability. Now these rare capability is different, and it's more important than valuable capability. Why so? Because it is rare to find. The name is itself tells us. So a competitor may possess the valuable capabilities, but the rare capabilities which are unique to the organization, it makes it different from the other firms, and it helps to have avail a kind of advantage over the other firms. So rare capability which you can develop, which you can establish, helps you to have a sharpened sword against the competitors, right? Next comes up third tool comes up is costly to imitate the capabilities. Here what we are trying to say is that in a normal situation, a competitive advantage is lost when a competitor can imitate your capability, right? Once what you have, other can imitate you, it becomes a little easy to compete. But in the situations where it is impossible to have the imitation done by the other companies, or maybe by the say competitors, then those kind of capabilities should be developed, right? The organization may be having the historical culture, then that is what is the rare thing and which is non-imitable. Everyone may not be having it, and you can make the use of that, right? Sometimes even the core competencies used by the firm are not easily understandable. That is ambiguous, it is more confusing, then it may not be understood by the competitor, and that may become your core competence, right? And maybe the social complexity may be one of the ways, or maybe it is a kind of non-imitable capabilities. Sometimes some companies are in a position to win the confidence of the customers and other stakeholders. So what happens is the interpersonal relationship, trust, friendship with the stakeholder is much more strong as compared to the other firms. Then this may help to have the non-imitable type of capabilities in the competitor or in the firm, which cannot be easily imitated, which cannot be represented by the competitor. So this is how these tools can be used. The fourth one is the non-substitutable capabilities. Now when the competitors are incapable of tapping the rare capabilities, they can imitate you, right? Then what happens? They look for any closure substitute of such capabilities. They strive always to develop the alternatively equivalent kind of ways to find out or to meet your product or services. So the firm related to value system and interpersonal relationship with the keeps the competition on. So you will have such a kind of capability that is not substituted by the competitors. So this makes you more compatible, or which makes you create a more strong competencies over the others. So what we have tried to say here is that as we know that core competencies cannot be developed overnight. They have to be built, and they can be built with the valuable capability tool, rare capabilities, costly to imitate capabilities, and the non-substitutable substitutable capabilities as the tools can be used to build the core competencies. right? Next comes up, here is the last part of your unit, that is value chain analysis. Mind you, what we have done right now up till right in this moment, what we have done is that we have created, or we have tried to understand the competitive advantage with three dimensions, that is how the resource utilization can be there, how the capabilities of the organization can be developed, and how the core competencies can be built that makes the organization unique in nature, and how these can be utilized, right? We are moving towards the last part of the unit, and that is considered to be the value chain analysis. We'll try to understand with the diagram shown here, right? Again, the things are available in your text, and you can relate with the explanation that I am showing it to you, or I am describing here. Now, these value chain analysis is also known as Porter's value chain analysis in the business management, right? And it was developed somewhere in 1985, and it was in his book, that is Competitive Advantage. He has mentioned about this value chain. Value chain is nothing but the collection of all the types of activities that are performed by the company so as to create the value for their customers. The better value chain will increase what? The prestige and the loyalty of the customers towards the business organization, and will help you to have the competitive advantage over the market. Thus, the proper chain, if analyzed by the business organization, will definitely help to enhance the profitability of the firm, and will be able to achieve all the objectives set for the business organization in the long run. With this motive in mind, Porter has given us with this value chain analysis model. All right, as you can see it here, the value chain analysis explains what the transparent and value adding services that is to be provided to the customers for the better benefits of the organizational activities. Now, Porter's value chain analysis consists of number of activities, as you can see it, right? And they can be named as primary activities on one hand, and the supportive activities on the other hand. As you can see it, the primary activities which are considered to be the most important ones, it includes all the activities like maybe the receiving, storing and distributing of the resources related to production, right? Customers or resources or transfers. It may be related to end users, storage, collections. It may be related to branding, social and engaging them, right? And it can be maintaining the values through these primary activities. You can see it in your diagram that has been given in your text, that primary activity includes related to product development, it is related to production operation, it is considered or it is related to marketing and sales, transportation and logistics. That means production marketing is considered to be the prime activities, and the supportive activity includes the financial management, the HRM, the research and development and information technology. If you can see it here also, and you can relate it in your text also, that in short, value chain management helps to have two sets of activities before us. When you try to make these activities strong, then you can create the customers, you can have the customer satisfaction on one hand, and you can create the image of the company and maybe the profitability of the company on the other hand, right? So as I told you, the primary activities can be related to production and marketing, and the supportive activity may be related to financial management, HR, R&D and information technology. When these activities are made to the most, or they are used in the most efficient manner, or these activities are taken up in a most efficient manner, then what happens is the result can be gained by the firm. And this is how this value chain helps, that is given by Porter, that helps to have the best usage, right? If we are talking about the product, the production area, suppose, then production area includes the product development. Then product development means from time to time the product have to be developed, right, so that the best production operations can take place. So product development and production operations can be considered as the relative term related to the production. When the production activities are taken up, then the set of the resources that are to be used, how they are to be used, how the production line is to be created, created in which the inputs are coordinated so that the expected output can be there, right? These can be included. Production operations, how efficient you make the production operations, that care can be taken up, right? When we come to the marketing and sales area, then it is after the proper production, it is the proper logistics or maybe with the help of transportation marketing services that you are making the product and the services available to the customer. So how well you decide and make the marketing arrangements and the selling arrangements for the customers, that helps to have the best to the firm, right? So this is how these four areas can be included, or these four prime activities can be included in the value chain, right? When we come to the B part, it is the supportive activity, which is considered to be say the financial management. How well you can arrange with the finance of the company whenever required, can we make with the finance management or not, those things can be taken care of, right? Next comes up is HR. So whatever the HR activities you have, or HR you have, how well you can plan it, how well you can use the talent and the skills of the resources, HR resources, that helps to have the say the core competency, or maybe have the strong hand over the others. Research and development, the more R&D taken up by the company, the more chances of innovations are there, more chances of getting the privilege over the other firms can be established. Even the information technology used by the company can make the company stronger over the others. So this is how the activities of the company can be divided into two parts, and then if proper care is taken up with the primary activity and the supportive activity, then likewise the value chain can be analyzed, and different activities can be made use for the company's development, right? So here, with the end of this Porter's value chain analysis model, we are coming an end to our this particular unit, that is unit number 3. So when we meet next, we will be going further with unit number 4, and likewise till we meet next, it's a goodbye from my side. Take care of yourselves. Thank you.